Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be diving into another fantastic machine on the Vulnhub, which is TET. The link will be put in the video below so that you can download it and play it on your own. As you can see over here in the description of this machine, to get this machine done, we need to understand PHP programming language. Before we get started, however, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. So now, let's head over to Kali Linux VM to begin with. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target machine. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be netdiscover. Alright, as you can see here, the IP address of the target machine could be recognized as 140. So what shall we do next? We need to conduct port and service scanning with Nmap. To save time of this video, I've already completed before. Now we can count out its result. As usual, I took the options like scene scan, the version scan, default script scan, followed by the full range port scan. The last option of all is ON. To output the result into this file, then we can retrieve scanning results whenever, just as what I'm doing now. From the Nmap scanning results, we can tell the target machine has only one open port, 80. The service is HTTP. Even we can get some more information from the Nmap. The title is login, so maybe it will be presented by user login page. So what are we going to do next? We need to enter Enumeration stage, and let's fire up the browser to perform manual enumeration first. We can put the IP address of the target machine into the address bar. Yeah, just as I said before, we are presented by this login page, and we can try to use admin as username and admin as password, and click login button, but nothing different. We stay on the same page. I think we submit incorrect password. So how about we use the login bypass technique, admin single quote and space, and we can put anything here, click login button again, but we still get nothing from the target machine. And as usual, also we need to check its source code, but a very simple HTML code. So next, let me try to retrieve its robots file. Not found. Next, we can launch Nikto to perform comprehensive web enumeration, such as the banner information. From the banner we can get the version information, and also the request header, the allowed HTTP methods, very rich information. But in this case, from the point of penetration, we failed to get anything valuable. Okay, so next we can launch Gobuster to perform directory enumeration. Although Gobuster has discovered some files or pages like home, logout, cookie, but all of these except index or default page, we will be redirected to the home page or index page or station page. So in summary, we didn't get anything useful in terms of directories or files. So I think the only possible vector or attack vector lies in the user login form. And let me close up this Firefox because I'm going to launch another version of Firefox which has Foxy Proxy plugin installed. Okay, and we can turn off the proxy, and let's access this site. And now we can enable the proxy. In the meantime, we can launch BurpSuite Community Edition. Next, start BurpSuite. And we can navigate to proxy tab and turn on intercept option. So next we can trigger a new request like admin, anything, click login, and BurpSuite has intercepted this request. We can send this request to repeater module, and because we are going to play around request here and to see what the response will be. Okay, for example, we can send the request, and this time we got something, password or password hash is not correct. So I think, in other words, maybe some kinds of redirect a function is implemented in the web application. So this is the reason why just now we didn't find such a response. But anyhow, this means we need to possibly we need to encrypt or make hash password before submitting to the web application. But before we do that, of course, we can use very big word list for password, and we can, for example, we can create the Python program and make or create a hash for each password from the dictionary and submit it to the web application. But this would be a very time consuming. So I'm going to take, maybe a bit lazy way. Okay, let me show you what I mean. We can send this request to intruder module, and we can clear existing variables. And I'm assuming the username should be admin. Okay, and we can add the variable because I want to conduct brute forcing against this field. Okay, and we can go to payloads. We can load a small word list. Okay, open, and let's start attack. So as you can see here, and for each different word from for different payload, we can get a different response. And we can use the length to sort the response. So as you can see over here, when we submit the payload as admin, the length would be different from all others. So I think the admin is a correct password. But of course, why just now we submit password of admin, we got nothing. The reason is that we should make hash first, and then we can submit this hashed password to the web application. But another question will come up. What type of hash is implemented in this application? And nowadays there are so many types of hash, like MD5, SHA1, SHA256, SHA512. And of course, you can manually try different hash types until we can find a correct password and a correct hash type. But I'd like to take Python to automate this process. Maybe we can close. And we can close. Okay, and we can trigger, of course, I'd like to get the request in this way. This is my own way, okay? And anything login, and then we can get the post request. We can copy this request as a Q command, and then we can go to this website to convert it to Python code. We can copy this Python code, and we can create a new Python file like password cracker and paste in here, and we just this will be very efficient, okay? And I'm going to import another module #lib and import sys module, and we can define function like login, and we can give one parameter password, okay? And column, we can indent all of these lines. I don't think cookies is necessary, so we just remove it. And okay, and also cookie, we can remove it. Here should be password, and we can have if statement. If login not in response, then we can know password found, okay? Curly braces password, and we do not need to continue anymore if we find correct or accurate password, right? Exit. Also, next we need to define another function, passwords generator, right? And we do not need to pass anything. So the data should be admin, because we know the clear text password should be admin. But before we pass #lib, we need to encode it. UTF-8. I do not want this video to be so long, so I just take a few hash types like MD5 hash, and so #lib MD5 data and hex. Similarly, we can create #lib SHA data hex SHA hash SHA data and hex the digest, and then we can just return all of possible passwords as a tuple or tuple. So MD5, but at this moment we don't know whether the character is uppercase or lowercase, so we can MD5 hash, comma, MD5 upper SHA upper and SHA upper. Okay, that's all. Next, we can define the main function. So we can have a for loop for password. Very simple code, right? Password in passwords generator, and then we can call function login password. That's all. And next we can call main function. Let's save it and run this program. Password crack, password found. Very quick. Okay, so now we can copy and put it on my notebook. So next we can log in with this hashed password. Login. But although we have already got access to this application is very simple. We can search something like any search, show results of any. So maybe it's vulnerable to XSS or cross-site scripting attack. I don't know. Script alert hi script. Indeed, it's vulnerable to XSS attack. Unfortunately, we can't exploit it for our purpose. So maybe next we can try to perform SQL injection, right? So for example, maybe we can anything. It seems it's not vulnerable. Of course, alternatively, you can launch SQL map to make automatic testing to see whether it's vulnerable to SQL injection on vulnerability or not. But to save time, actually, it's not vulnerable at all. So I think this should be the should be the difficulty of this, the biggest difficulty of this machine. Normally, file inclusion exists, the URL or in the get method, but this is different case. And we can try to access, password file. We can search. As you can see, we successfully retrieve the content of this file. A very important step we have already got. So next maybe we can check its source code. It would be cleaner to see or to read the output. So the tet is the user. So next we can try to access its private key. Okay, search. But nothing returned. And we can try to access Apache 2 access log. Nothing returned. Although, the application is or exists file inclusion vulnerability, we can't make use of this vulnerability for further steps. As a matter of fact, we can use this, although we failed to read critical files on the target machine. So how about to access the session file, okay? And you can use the Google to make some research, and we can tell PHP session, the location of PHP session file. Maybe this one. You can try. For example, maybe to save time, I'd like to try this correct one. What's going on? What's wrong? And we can put over here. But also we need to pass, different session will have different or separate file to store session data. And they should be sales followed by the session ID. And you can get this session ID by checking the cookie. Okay, we can copy the cookie, put it over here. So now we can copy and search. Yeah, indeed, the content of this session file has been read successfully. So what are we going to next? We try to poison this or try to run command, with this session file. Maybe I can use another Firefox because I'm going to use BurpSuite to play. We can access. The username is admin, and the password we can copy this long password login, and we can turn on the proxy and launch BurpSuite in the meantime. And we can put, for example, anything, search. And here, of course, because we need to retrieve the content of the session file. Sometimes they should be encoded, but based on my practice, in this case, the encoding is URL encoding is not necessary. So here, I want to, put some PHP command. We can send to repeater or module, for example. But here, I think we need to encode it. And I can use my own, this is my own website. We can put a command like if-config and encode it. We can copy and put over here, replace this one, and send the request. But this time, you see, this command is not executed as we expected. However, if you send the request once more, maybe we need to send it multiple times. A bit weird. Why? It should be working. The command send. Maybe I need to refresh this request. And search, and then we can intercept the request one more time, and we can send this request to repeater module. Oh, I think the session ID has been changed. We can copy and replace this session ID. And also we can put this command. Okay, send. But it's still not executed. Really weird. When I did the machine the first time, I also encountered this problem. But I don't think I have really done something wrong. Yeah, this time, as you can see, the command of if-config has been executed. Wonderful, right? So next, we can try to run reverse command, and we just replace this command with netcat This is an IP address of my Kali Linux, followed by the port number, encode and copy, and put over here. Maybe we can put on my notebook. So again, sometimes we need to send the request multiple times until we can get what we are expecting. Okay, and before we send this request, we should set up the listener on the Kali Linux waiting for collection from the target machine. Oh, okay, and we can send. It's not working. Oh, I think it's working. Beautiful. We successfully got a collection from the target machine. So beautiful. And now we can spawn an interactive shell by Python. Python 2 is available. So then we can okay, and also we can define term variable. So then we can clear screen to get a bigger space on the window. Next, we need to gather information because our goal is to get root shell. We can go inside TED, nothing here. So how about sudo? We can run sudo as a root user, and we can run this command. So I think the privilege escalation itself would be very simple, very easy. You can try different commands, but this one doesn't work. We can try this one. As you can see, we are root user. Then we can navigate to root directory. It's not necessary to retrieve or grab the flag. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you next. Bye. Have a good day.